Am I wrong for hiding from my mom that I've been messaging her birth daughter? When my mom, 46 female, was 21, she was married to some guy in the States who was cheating on her when she was pregnant. She hated him and hated that she was having his baby, had a traumatic pregnancy, was really depressed and didn't like being a parent, then signed away the rights to Alyssa, 25 female, some months after she gave birth. Alyssa was adopted by her father's affair partner and raised by her. My mom moved up here north to Canada, fell in love with my dad and married him when she was 30. She's had nothing to do with Alyssa besides demanding she never contact her again after she tried to. Last year, my mom finally told me about Alyssa, but made it clear that she didn't see her as a daughter and that Alyssa's mother was her father's wife. She also demanded that we try to not get them into any contact. So that's cool and all, but I was really fascinated by this idea of a sister I never had. So I secretly started messaging her, and even though she was hesitant at first, we've become good friends and I really want to meet her. Okay, I know you went through a traumatic, I can't even imagine what you went through, but I don't think it's right to hold sisters apart because I have a sister and I don't know what I would do in my life without her, so everyone deserves a sister. If you have it, give it to her. She's also become really successful in her field and works at the University of Toronto, which is where I want to go. I'm not going to lie. I really look up to her and would love to follow in her footsteps. And Toronto is a lot better of a city than the one we currently live in. The problem is that I left my phone unlocked yesterday and my mom freaked out when she saw that I was talking to her. She pointed out that she didn't want a reunion or me talking with her and that we aren't family and doesn't want my siblings to know before they're my age. I felt really bad because she started crying a lot, more than I've ever seen before. My dad told me it would all be okay, but he's been the one dropping me off to school, even though it's always been my mom. I've been wondering if I'm the asshole from hiding from my mom that I've been messaging Alyssa. So, am I?
My girlfriend, 30 female, overheard my 35 male family talking badly about her. Last week, I went to my parents' house for dinner. We get together as a family a few times a month. It's been a tradition with us for years now. Sammy usually joins us for these dinners, but had work obligations. Halfway through dinner, I got up to go to the bathroom, and Sammy texted me that she was outside. She got off work early and came over to hang out. She would have normally walked in, which is normal, but she needed help bringing in some gifts. My brother and sister, twins, have their birthday next week, and my girlfriend had gifts for them. At this point, my family had no idea Sammy was there. We walked inside and headed to the kitchen, and we overheard my family talking. My sister was saying that she was glad my girlfriend was gone because she couldn't stand a family night being ruined by my girlfriend being annoying. My brother and other sister agreed about how annoying and awful my girlfriend is. My dad made a comment about how they should be nice to Sammy, and my mom chimed in with, Sammy is nice and all, but I can't believe family sucks throwaway likes how fat she is. He can do so much better.
Wow.
My family, even my dad, agreed, and my sister piped up that I was dating down because I'm still rebounding from my last girlfriend, which was 5 years ago.
Okay.
I was floored. My family has always been so nice to Sammy, and I've never heard them talk badly about her. I've never heard my family say mean things about anyone, to be honest. Sammy walked into the kitchen and dumped the presents on the counter. She was crying and mumbled something about happy birthday and then took off out the door. My family looked shocked and a bit embarrassed. I asked my family what the fuck was wrong with them and didn't stick around for an answer. I went after Sammy. She was in her car crying. Now, Sammy is usually tough, but family is super important to her. She has no family, aside from an alcoholic dad that she doesn't have any contact with. My family was like her surrogate family and something she always wanted. She was overjoyed when my family welcomed her and invited her to family events. I have no idea what they mean about her being annoying. The thing that makes this even worse is I was planning on proposing to her in the next few months. Now, Sammy hasn't said much about it and hasn't talked to me about this incident. She has always wanted a family, and she doesn't understand why my family doesn't like her or what she's done wrong. I don't want to lose her over this. I would take her over my family. At this point, I have no idea if I even want them in my life. All of them have reached out to me with weak apologies full of justifications. I asked my mom if she had apologized to Sammy, and my mom said I could pass on the apology. What do? I don't want to get rid of my family, but Sammy matters more to me at this point. I want Sammy to know I'm fully in her corner and don't want her to feel guilty if I have to cut out my family.
Did I mess up by buying my 2-year-old daughter a Peppa the Pig piñata for her birthday? This well-meaning gesture turned into tragedy happened today. Like many toddlers, my kid loves that horrible little creature called Peppa. While I was shopping for birthday supplies this week, I saw a Peppa piñata and instantly thought two things. The kid is going to love this, and I'm going to love seeing Peppa get deleted with a stick. She saw it a couple of times during the week, and each time she was like, Peppa, hi Peppa, that's Peppa. So I knew without a shadow of doubt I had made the right choice. Cue the main event. In one corner we have Peppa, and in the other corner we have 15 older kids jacked up on cupcakes and soda. They don't care about Peppa, they only care about getting their necks fixed, and they know that fix is inside the paper piglet. My wife is holding up my daughter and I'm standing beside them. The first kid steps up and the adults are cheering and the kids are hyped. 3 swings and 3 misses. The families are laughing and cheering as the next kid steps up. First swing, miss. No issues yet. Second swing, some light contact is made, and this is where it goes downhill. I look over and see visible concern on my daughter's face. Third swing, contact. Full on whack. The parents cheer, and the kids are now at a near fever pitch of excitement. Except for one. The one whose birthday we're here to celebrate. She bursts into tears, and I look at my wife in that moment, and we both realize we fucked up. She's 2. She doesn't know what the heck a piñata is. This is her first time seeing one. What she is seeing is her favorite cartoon character getting beat down by her cousins. Babe, maybe you should take her inside. I don't think this is going to end the way we thought it was going to. Yeah, you're right. That should be the end of the story, right? A lesson learned on what not to do next time. Nope. My wife needed to use the bathroom, so my daughter was wandering around the living room. My mom, who was in the upstairs bathroom, comes downstairs and saw my daughter and the excitement going on outside and scooped her up and brought her back outside. I'm on the other side of the yard as I see my mom come out with my daughter and I start walking towards them. Too late. She stops at the end of the deck, giving my daughter an unobstructed view of what happened next. The kill shot. One of the older kids let loose a thunderous haymaker and explodes Peppa. The parents cheer and the kids lose their mind. They're fighting each other for candy over the corpse of Peppa. My kid unfortunately lost her goddamn mind. Full on ugly cry while muttering, "Peppa, Peppa, Peppa," in between sobs. Thankfully, kids that age have short memories, but it took her a good 45 minutes to fully settle down from watching the murder of her beloved Peppa.
Am I the asshole for wanting my mom to be in the delivery room when my wife has our baby? My wife, Alice, 28 female, is 7 months pregnant. She's starting to think about who she'd like to have in the delivery room when the time comes. She said she would really like her dad there for support. Alice is really close with her dad since she was a kid and has only grown closer to him since her mom died, so that was no surprise. I'm completely fine with having Doug there. She said she doesn't want her stepmom there, which is fine. Her stepmom is really sweet, has been so helpful through the entirety of the pregnancy, and I know she will be hurt when she finds out she can't be there, but I can understand. The issue I have is that Alice doesn't want my mom there. My mom has never been my wife's biggest fan, but she is so excited to have a grandchild and has been planning on being in the delivery room the entire pregnancy and likely before. Like I said, my mom has been hard on Alice and can be a little judgmental, but she's still the grandmother of our child and wants to be there. She's also my mother, and I find it unfair that she can have her dad there, but I can't have my mom there. It's a high-risk pregnancy, and Alice has been really adamant about trying to give birth naturally, but she claims that if things take a turn and she wants an epidural or there needs to be an emergency C-section for whatever reason, she is worried about the judgment from my mom because my mom has openly expressed her distaste for both. Additionally, she says my mom is not the nicest to her. I know my mom has been a little harsh about her weight gain, even though about 30 pounds. She was 120 before. Allegedly, when my wife went over to my parents' house recently, she dropped a plate on the floor, and my mom yelled at her while she made her get down on the floor and clean it up.
Oh my gosh.
I understand where Alice is coming from, and while she'll be the one giving birth, he is my child as much as hers, and I feel like I should be allowed to have my mom there. My wife and I got into a scuffle about this before she started crying, and the issue was dropped. She told me that I was being selfish, but I feel like she was being selfish too. Am I the asshole for wanting my mom to be in the delivery room while my wife has our baby?
Honestly, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for not letting a girl check my phone to make sure I wasn't taking pictures of her? I'm at the gym today and I'm walking towards an empty squat rack. Right in front of me is another girl doing squats. While walking up, I briefly noticed that her leggings are see-through, and when she bends down in her squats, you can easily tell she's not wearing underwear. That's not my business, that's her choice, but it made me uncomfortable to take a rack that was kind of behind her. I had been waiting my entire gym session for one of these racks to open up, and this was my last lift before leaving, so I went ahead and took it. I went through my workout as normal. After every set, I check my phone for 5 to 20 seconds. I track every single set for every single lift in a spreadsheet to note how much I lifted and for how many reps. Sometimes I need to remind myself what I did last week to make sure I'm progressing. Sometimes I'm checking the time or changing a song on Spotify. Tonight specifically, there was a very important basketball game being played, so I wanted to keep up with the score, so I used my phone a lot at the gym. I finished up my third set when the girl turns around, walks up to me with her phone up, yelling, "What the F are you doing? Effing perv, stop taking pictures of me." I'm caught completely off guard, but I explained that I'm just taking notes on what I'm lifting and not paying attention to her at all. She's being extra loud so other people are looking at me, plus she's recording me, and she demands I go through my pics and videos to show her what I was recording, and I delete the ones I took of her. I tried to again explain I didn't record anything of her at all. She's yelling that if I have nothing to hide, I should have no problem showing her, so I insist on going to the gym management. Once at the front, we both explain our stories. The normal gym attendee asked me if I'm willing to show her, a neutral third party, my phone. She also says if I have nothing to hide, it's not a big deal and we can squash it right now. I refuse. I have my own uncensored pics in there plus those of my girlfriend. I'm not gonna let anyone force me to show them for some BS. I do show her my spreadsheet, which shows it's been revised over 15 times in the past 50 minutes, so that proves what I was using my phone for. That was received well, but they still expected me to prove my innocence. I told them they needed to review the cameras. Apparently, only the manager has access to them, so I was told he'd call me before the end of the night. My girlfriend tells me I should have just let them go through my phone because she doesn't mind, and it would have cleared this all up. But I do mind. I get that someone wouldn't want someone taking pics of them, but violating my privacy to prove I wasn't taking pics of you crosses a line for me. Later that night, the manager called. He checked the footage. He couldn't see what was on my screen, but he said it looked like I had my phone pointed towards the ground right in front of me the whole time. In his opinion, it wasn't high enough to even take a picture of her and never angled it in her direction. Apparently, I was gonna get banned from the gym if the cameras didn't absolve me. And also, I'm not the first person that has been accused before by this girl, but she legit had a creeper before, so I kind of understand where she was coming from.
Am I the asshole for demanding my fiance and his mom pay for a new wedding dress? Me, 26 female, and my fiance, 28 male, have been engaged for 4 months. We're planning on having our wedding on October 18th. My future mother-in-law kept annoying me and sending me suggestions for choosing the right wedding dress and said that she knew better and tried to get me to approve of wedding dresses that she chose, and when she couldn't enforce her decision, she demanded I take her with me to buy my wedding dress so she could have an opinion. Before I went shopping, I asked her if she wanted to come, but started making excuses about how busy she was with my sister-in-law. So I went shopping with my mom, and I was able to find a really nice dress. I made some changes to it, and it was perfect. It arrived to my apartment at the end of the week, and I made sure it was stored in a safe place so it didn't get ruined. Yesterday, I got back from my mom's house, and I found that my fiance wasn't home. Neither was the dress. I called him immediately, knowing that he must have taken it to show it to his mom, since she continuously asked to see it and refused to have me send her pictures of it. I was so mad when it was confirmed that my fiance took it to show it to his mom, and he said he was going to be home in 30 minutes after he went to the supermarket. I waited for longer than I had to, and then when he arrived, I ran to get my dress that was buried underneath grocery bags. I took it to check on it, and its zipper was broken, and the dress itself was stretched out. I was like, what the fuck happened to it? My mother-in-law must have tried it on, because it looked ruined. I had to call my mother-in-law when my fiance told me his mom and sister took turns to try it on. I was absolutely livid. She told me she did nothing wrong and that I was making a big deal out of it. She said she'd get a replacement for the broken zipper, but I told her to pay for a new dress since it was stretched out and no longer fitting. She refused and said that I probably wasn't happy with my dress choice and wanted for her to pay so I could get a new one. My mom said she'd pay for fixing it, but I just hate it now that someone else wore it before me. I'm mad at both of them and seriously considering postponing the wedding.
Do it. The mother and the sister, emotional incest. You tried on that wedding dress because you want to fucking marry your son.
Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my half of our canceled wedding? My ex-fiancé and I come from very different cultural backgrounds. Our families live on entirely different continents. I explicitly told him before we even got engaged that I always wanted a small, low-key wedding. I know that his culture have huge, lavish weddings, and he told me that this is what he wants. So when we got engaged, we had a long conversation which resulted in the compromise that we would have a big wedding in his home country, but drop some of the other aspects of his culture that I wasn't so comfortable with, or did not mesh well with my own culture. This was not a huge amount of customs we were dropping. In fact, we arranged to drop one and alter two so that they streamlined better with my own culture. We were both as happy as possible with this outcome. We began making bookings, reservations, and paying deposits for our wedding. This was all out of his bank account. This is because we did not have citizenship in each other's countries, so it was far less complicated for everything to be paid from one account of the same country. The intention was that after we get married, it would be much easier to get citizenship, and once citizenship was approved, we would merge our finances, and at this point would not matter who had paid for the wedding, since all of our money would be together. 3 weeks before we were married, his mother and aunts got wind of one of the customs we had arranged to alter and lost him. Through conversation, they had found out about the other two, and eventually they threatened to disown him for being a bad son. They said I was cutting him off from his family and that if that was what he wanted, they would make it easier for him. He begged me to change my mind, but I was firm saying this is what we decided together. I wasn't going to drop the agreement because his family don't like it, when there are plenty of aspects my own family are uncomfortable with. Relationships are about compromise and communication, and ultimately the first priority are the two people in the relationship, not their family. He told me that if I wouldn't budge, then the wedding was off. I told him I already had made my compromise, and I still wanted to marry him under our original conditions when we had spent a long time negotiating and originally felt were fair. He said he had changed his mind and did not want to marry me. After a few weeks, he contacted me asking me to pay him back for half the money he was unable to get back from the deposits we paid. Since it was so close to the planned date that we canceled, it was not a small amount of money. However, since he was the one who called off the wedding, and even at this point I would still marry him if we were able to honor our original agreement, I don't think I'm obliged to pay. I told him this and he's very unhappy because he believed that it's my fault that he canceled the wedding because I'm unwilling to be flexible. So, am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my half of our canceled wedding? Am I wrong for throwing away my husband's dinner after he went to eat at his mom's house? My mother-in-law calls every night to ask what we're having for dinner. Then she brags about what she's cooking to make me look bad, especially if we're getting takeout. I used to care, but not anymore. My husband would ask me to make dinner, only for him to go to his mom's house, which is only 10 minutes away, and eat her food. He always tries to use the excuse that she's making my favorite meal. Yesterday, I wanted to surprise him by cooking one of his favorite meals, and although I was busy, I took time off work to cook. I even went grocery shopping to get what I needed. Later, as I was setting the table, his mom called. I told him that he didn't have to answer, but he did. Like usual, she asked what we were having, but acted surprised that I cooked this meal. She then went on to tell him that she cooked some sort of meal and told him to come over. He said okay, which shocked me. I said, seriously? As he started dressing up, getting ready to leave, he told me, no offense, but this meal that his mom had cooked was even more of a favorite than the one I cooked, and grabbed his keys and left. I felt awful. I took his plate and threw it out and then ate my portion. As I was about to put the plate in the dishwasher, he got home looking angry, saying his mom lied about cooking that favorite meal and used it as an excuse to force him to have dinner with her. I was shocked, but then he sat down telling me to go ahead and reheat dinner. Please, okay, your ass left you and get no dinner. I told him no dinner after he abandoned it and I threw it out. He said, what? And I told him that he disrespected my time and effort by choosing to go eat with his mom instead. He began yelling at me, asking me if I really did that, and then called me petty and horrible, then went upstairs saying what I did was 100 times worse than what his mom did. I definitely feel like I let my anger and frustration get the best of me, but it really felt unbearable having to live like this for so long. By the way, I'm 26 and he's 28. To make one thing clear, my husband only does this when it comes to food. Am I wrong for telling my sister I will no longer give her my breast milk? I, 28 female, had a stillbirth 5 weeks ago. My sister gave birth to a healthy baby boy 4 weeks ago. After my stillbirth, I was producing milk and pumping, and my sister couldn't breastfeed after her son was born. Formula shortage was awful, and I was literally throwing my milk away, so I offered it to my sister, and she gladly accepted it. I was advised by the doctors to pump for 3 weeks after the stillbirth to prevent problems for me. And then stop. Otherwise, I just keep producing milk. Due to the formula shortage, I have been pumping for 5 weeks now to give the milk to my sister. Now that there is more formula in stock and she has been able to go buy it, I told her I'll stop pumping. She told me her son has stomach problems after the formula and asked me to keep pumping. I told her I emotionally cannot handle it any longer. She said I am being selfish and she already has to feed her son by bottle because she at first suggested I just nurse him for his daily feedings at least. We live next door and I refused. I told her I am sorry and I can pump for a few more days so she can put some in the freezer and have some backup until she finds a better formula for her son. But she said breast milk is the healthiest and I should just help her out. She called me a selfish asshole and said that I am the embodiment of misery loves company. What? How can people say this to their own sister? My mother feels I should help my own sister out. My husband said my sister is way out of line. I feel really awful because I could still help her out and I know she needs it. Oh, heck no. You did her more than enough by giving 5 weeks of milk when you were supposed to stop at 3. And she's, the entitlement is like, blowing my mind. If she wants to give her kid breast milk, she needs to try harder to feed him. Like, why is she putting that on you? Do you know how much of a strain it is on your body, on your day? You have to go about your whole day going around trying to pump because you're producing. Oh, get out of here. She needs to take a chill pill.
My husband has a second family. The ultimate cliche has happened in my life, and I'm absolutely broken. My husband, my rock, has been having an affair for over 17 years. We've been married for over 25 years. We have 3 beautiful children, 2 in college, and 1 who still lives at home. But turns out he's had another set this whole time. My husband is an insurance broker, and he has multiple branches over the country, which he spends week on, week off. Turns out on his week off, he's been with his other family in Albuquerque, where his other branch is. He's got a fiance whom he has 2 kids with, both in their early teens. I found out when I went to make a new Facebook account, and when I searched my husband's first name, another profile with another last name popped up, and through that profile were the links to his fiance and his other kids' Facebook. My husband is currently with said family, and I know it's him because his most recent post is a photo of him and that other family eating dinner. Among those photos were photos of him kissing the girl and him being fatherly with the kids who look nearly identical to my husband. I am already broken. Almost every part of me wants to scream in his face and reprimand him for ruining my life, but another part of me wants to pretend to be ignorant and let it be. because our life is peaceful. He's good with our kids. He's the main source of financial income. He's loving, but he's also all those things to another family. Not only would I be tearing a gaping hole in my family, I'd be opening a vortex for them too. My heart is in shambles. I've never cried so much in my life. My youngest son is currently on a graduation trip with friends, and I'm alone till my lying, cheating, bastard husband comes home. My life is absolutely wrecked. It's literally a movie plot. I'm hoping he'll just come home and it'll be a big misunderstanding why he's kissing a woman with a ring on her finger. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm tempted to pack a bag and just leave. I can't be in the home where we've raised our kids, where we've spent every Christmas for the last 26 years, and where I've been alone on New Year's, taking care of our babies, while he works his ass off. I just can't. I want to leave a note for him to come home to, hurt him like he's hurt me, but I don't think that's possible. I don't know how I'll ever face him again.
Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine being in that situation and having the power over your emotions to say, like, I wish I could just put it and like have him come back. Like you instantly start putting others in front of you.
I don't know how she has such restraint.
Right.
I can't get past the part where she's like, I want to look the other way. That part, I just couldn't. After that, everything kind of became moot to me for some reason, because I was like, the fact that she's even considering that, I feel like this is fully her being a mother and thinking that this is what she needs to do for her family and her children.
It's just at what,
what's
the threshold? Yes. What's the threshold?
But never meant to make it by myself. Stuck between the ego and the devil and yourself. Got these habits, but I'll never ask for help. Just following my feelings, cause I love the way you felt. I can give you love, and it can give you time. It can make you smile, and I will make you cry. The only things in common when we talk about the past. I will be your first, and he will be the last. How you think about him when you're kissing me now. Feeling like it's slipping away. There's no doubt good in the word goodbye, but there's so much more to stay. So blame it all on me, darling. See, I let you down. Blame it all on me, darling. Say I'm never around. Cause you know I tried so hard to...
My boyfriend and I have been together for about a month, and his mom never lets us do anything. We're both in our late teenage years, me being 15 and him almost 16. Ever since his mom found out, we can't do anything together. I can't go over to his house, I can't hug him when he's upset, and I can't even have any quality time with him outside of a town church group. I'm not even Christian, but it's the only way that I can ever see him. She says that she's protecting her son from some sort of misunderstanding, as if he's going to do something horrible to me, when I've known him the entire school year and been a close friend of his up until we started dating. For example, she flipped out on me after I went to comfort him after she had just gotten done screaming at him, and I mean screaming, for us being in his room. I gave him a simple hug, which I only offered, and she freaked out at me over it, saying, I'm his mother, I'm the only one who comforts him, and made me stand in his kitchen for 20 minutes while she yelled at him again about how it's her house and her rules, then going on to say that he had no say in what he could and couldn't do with anything relating to me. I'm going to see him later today at a birthday party, and his mom is going to be with him and his little brother. She's also sent me several rude messages regarding me changing her son and making him think he can do whatever he wants, when all I've done is comfort him and try to make him feel better about how much she verbally abuses him. I'm lost and I don't know what to do. I, 36 female, have a daughter, Sadie, 12, with my ex-husband, John, 39. We got divorced 5 years ago, and I have primary custody while he sees her 2 weekends a month. Last year, he got married to Amanda, who has sole custody of her kids, 10 and 8 female, from a previous marriage. Amanda is a stay-at-home mom, not for any health reasons or so on. She just doesn't want to work, while John works 9 to 5. He makes good money to support them, but not enough to live in luxury. I have a much higher paying job. Since it's just me and Sadie, I make sure that she has the best possible life. She goes to a private school, set up her college fund, and she has much better things than most kids, phones, clothes, etc. I still manage to raise her to be humble and not take things for granted, and she's one of the hardest working people I know, always making sure to get good grades and keep her room tidy. Well, the last few times she came back after a weekend at John's, I noticed that the clothes she was bringing back in her duffel are A, not her size, and B, much cheaper and poorer quality than what I usually buy for her. I asked her why that is, and she told me that while she's at her dad's, Amanda takes away her nice clothes and gives them to her kids while Sadie gets the clothes they buy from Target. I asked her if she wanted them back, but she said that she didn't mind sharing since all of her favorite clothes were kept here. The problem came when I went to pick her up last weekend. I had a business meeting and I couldn't drive her over, so Amanda offered to just pick Sadie up from school, which hadn't happened before. When I got there on Sunday, John and Amanda asked me to sit down with them, and when Sadie came to hug me, Amanda sent her to her room quite harshly, saying her punishment wasn't over yet. I was confused because Sadie very rarely misbehaves. They sat me down in the kitchen and said that it was unfair for Sadie to be going to a private school while her kids go to a public one, so they decided that Sadie would be pulled out of private school and put in the same school as the girls. They also said I should keep up Sadie's punishment because when they told her, she blew up at them, told them it wasn't fair, and yelled that Amanda and her kids weren't even her real family, all they did was steal. I told them in no uncertain terms to fuck off. I would not be pulling my child out of a school she likes away from her friends because they can't afford it. I told them that they could easily make as much money as me if Amanda started working in her field because she has the qualifications and the job market is very good. I told them that their money problems are not my issue, and if Sadie's items get stolen again or they try to pull her out of school, I'll be taking this to court. They've been blowing up my phone ever since, calling me a selfish asshole, and after telling the story to my friend, he told me that I was rubbing my success in their face, but I still don't feel like I did anything wrong. Am I the asshole for telling my ex that his lack of money is not my issue?
I the asshole for taking my wife's side after she screamed and cursed at my mom? I, 33 male, am married to my wonderful wife, Melody, 29 female. She is currently pregnant with our first child together. I also have a 6-year-old daughter, Tina, whose mother I split 50-50 custody with. So I know what Melody needs in order to feel supported while she carries our child. I've been spending a lot of time making sure she's comfortable and taking on more of the load at home so she's not doing too much. My mother and Melody don't get along, and my mom didn't like my ex either. She's very nitpicky about Melody and how much she does around the house and how emotional she is. The fact that she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and it just seems like nothing Melody does is okay. Am I the asshole for taking my wife's side after she screamed and cursed at my mom? I stand up for her and do not just allow my mom to talk down on her. Today, before picking up my daughter from summer camp, Melody went to 3 different grocery stores to find rotisserie chicken. She's been talking about it since last night and really wanted one. She sent me picture messages documenting her quest for the chicken and finally found it. My girl was happy. She was planning on serving that with some other basic sides for dinner, which is perfectly fine by me. My mom came by to see Tina and started telling Melody the chicken is bad for her and she shouldn't be eating that pregnant. Melody says she usually eats healthy and just wants one thing she's craving.
Am I the asshole for refusing to remove a piece of jewelry at the request of my friend on her wedding day? My 31 female friend, 30 female, we'll call Mary, got married last week and I was in her bridal party. For context, we are friends from high school, and all of the other bridesmaids were her friends from college, who I hadn't met until her bachelorette party several months ago. I was supposed to attend the wedding with my own fiance, but he contracted COVID 5 days before we were supposed to leave and made the choice to stay home for everyone's safety. I tested negative and we don't live together. Our 5th anniversary of our first date was 2 months ago, and he got me a beautiful opal necklace on a gold chain, specifically to wear to the wedding because it complemented my bridesmaid's dress. I asked Mary in our bridal group chat if she was all right with us wearing our own jewelry to the wedding. She said no problem. Day of the wedding comes, all of us bridesmaids and Mary meet early in the morning for pictures outside the chapel. Mary sees my necklace and loves it, and actually asked if she could switch her necklace with mine. Some other bridesmaids chime in and say that it would be her something borrowed. I tried as politely as I could to tell her that my fiance got this for me to wear to the wedding, and especially since he can't be here, I'd like to keep it on. Mary and the other bridesmaids were persistent, saying it was her wedding and her pictures, and I wasn't being accommodating. But I firmly told them no. Mary then said if I could at least take it off since it looked nicer than her own jewelry. Again, I told her I'd rather not. I'd like to share the wedding photos of myself in the necklace with my fiance. She was not happy. Neither of the bridesmaids were either. I received a lot of cold shoulders and dirty looks the rest of the ceremony and reception. I felt awful. After the first dance, Mary's sister came up to me to tell me just how upset Mary was and rude it was that I upset her on her big day. Am I the asshole? It's been more than a week and I'm still thinking about it nonstop, and Mary hasn't answered any of my texts.
Oh man, that one's kind of hard. I mean, first of all, if a necklace ruins your fucking wedding, girl, you got bigger problems.
Oh my God.
A necklace, Mitch?
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I want to see it. Oh, it's really pretty.
It's cute, but like nothing to have your day ruined over.
No, and it's also minuscule. Like, it is so small. You probably didn't even see it. Also, why would you want to get married in a necklace that another man bought your friend? That's weird.
Your friend's fiance bought her as like an important gift to mark their relationship.
Yeah, like you want to wear that in your wedding photos?
What the fuck? That's some bad juju.
Yeah, like in your wedding pictures, like that you're going to have forever. You're going to frame and have hung in your house. That's weird.
It makes me wonder if like she secretly at one point had feelings for her friend's fiance.
Mm-hmm. It's always something deeper.
It's
because if it's just that, you're like you're Looney Tunes, bro.